This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
A big and special welcome to Lafayette Upper Elementary, who are joining us for the first time today. Welcome, guys. Can you see there's some lions lying under the bush there, and they are very snoozy at the moment. My name is Brent Leo Smith, and I have Archie on camera with us, and hopefully you're going to have a fan. Now, not far away, there are lots of wildebeest, which lions like to eat. It's one of their favorite foods, especially at this time of the year. Now, I would love to get all your questions, so send your questions through via your teacher. I would love to hear from you. But our lions are being very lazy, and the wildebeest are a little bit far away for now, but they might move closer, which might make the lions wake up. Now, lions are quite lazy kitties. They sleep about 20 hours a day out of 24. So if you like napping, you might want to be a lion. These are two females. And there was a big male around this morning. I'm not sure where he is at the moment. I've been following these two lioness for the last 3 game drives. Well, this is the third. The last 2 plus this one. And hopefully they're going to be a bit more entertaining. But not only do we have wildebeest and lions, we've got the biggest animal in Africa as well here. So there's some elephant not too far away, looking or in between all the wildebeest. There we go, you can see them there. Hello, elephants. Now, it seems like you guys are having a fantastic start to your safari because you've seen lions, you've seen elephants, you've seen wildebeest. Now, Jamie's going to show you the tallest animal in the world.
So you've seen the biggest animal we have out here. Now you have a chance to see the tallest. Hello and welcome to the kids who have joined us this afternoon. It's afternoon for us, of course. For you guys, it's morning and the start of your school day. My name is Jamie, and there's a gentleman called Manu behind the camera, but that is all you will ever see of Manu, is just his thumb as he says hello. And we are in the Maasai Mara of Kenya, which I'm sure that Brent has told you all about. Now remember, because what you're seeing is happening right here and right now, it's the perfect opportunity for you to ask lots and lots of questions. Now, I've been told that you guys are around about between 7 and 9 years old. So when I was your age, I was spending lots of time asking questions about the wildlife of the country, but that was because I was very lucky and I got to go on safaris when I was a kid. So now I'm hoping to take you on a safari yourselves. And we have our first question, which is not about the buffalo that we're watching, but from Elvin about the giraffe's neck. That's a good question, Elvin. You want to know how long a giraffe's neck is. So a giraffe's neck is around about 2 meters from the very bottom to the very top of the back of their heads. So that is about 6 or so feet in length. So a giraffe with its long legs would basically, because they're around about between 5 and 6 meters tall, so around about 15 feet or so. So if you guys at around about, let's say, if you guys are 7 to 9 years old, let's say 5 of you lie down on the floor, but the one puts their feet next to the other one's head. Does that make sense? So that you lie in a long line, but 5 of you. That would be how tall a giraffe is. So they're very, very tall. That, of course, depends on how tall some of you are. If you're very tall, then it will have to be 4 people that lie on the floor with one person's head next to the other person's feet. And then you can get an idea of what a giraffe would look like if it were lying down. Okay, now I pointed out some buffalo to you. Landon, you would like to know how big buffalo are. So a buffalo is a little bit smaller than the bison. I don't know how many. Hands up if you have ever seen a bison before in the wild. So a buffalo is, for us, quite similar to a bison, or at least it's quite in the sense that it essentially does a very similar thing. So a buffalo is actually not that much smaller than a bison. In fact, a buffalo is about the same size as a bison. They look kind of similar. They are distantly related, but obviously these buffalo that we see here are different because they live in Africa. So about the size of a bison. So if you get an idea, one big buffalo, and I'm going to take you a little bit closer in a second, one big buffalo would weigh about the size of a small car. But there's sometimes small buffalo too, and I can see that there's a few baby buffalo in this herd. So hold on, we're going to go a little bit closer, and maybe we can get a good view of the baby buffalo. Now we are very, very close to a big river, and there's lots and lots of different animals that like to live around the river. So while we get closer to this buffalo baby, let's go to a different country to join James on safari.
Can you believe that you are in 2 different countries on your safari today? You are now in South Africa, which is the best country in the world. Yes, I know that you think the United States is the best country in the world, but actually, now you know it is South Africa. We're sitting here with some impala in a very famous national park known as the Kruger National Park. My name is James, and on camera is David. That's David's thumb. Not the whole of David, he's bigger than that. And we are going to look hopefully for a leopard. There are the impala. Leopards like to eat impalas, and with any luck we might find a leopard hunting one. You can ask as many questions as you like. I'd love to hear from you. You can send me any comments as well. Now, I'm sure you're looking at this landscape thinking, gosh, it's really dry in comparison with what we've been looking at in the Maasai Mara in Kenya, and you'd be absolutely right. We are in what we call the dry season, and in not very long from now we'll have some rain, and everything that you can see over here will transform from this brown, sort of deadish looking vegetation to bright emerald green. I know it's almost impossible to imagine, but that's what's going to happen. Landon, well, you've got lots and lots of deer in the United States, of course, and in various parts of Asia, and there are no deer down in this part of Africa. And you very cleverly ask, what's the difference between this and a deer? Well, they're very closely related, actually, but one of the major differences is that an antelope, like this one there, has a horn, or 2 horns if it's lucky, and those horns are different from antlers. Antlers grow on deer every year and then fall off again, and horns remain on these antelope. And so if they break one of those horns off, well, it'll never go back again. Other than that, they are very similar. They are both ruminants. You don't need to really worry about that, but basically it just means that they eat similar sorts of things and are able to digest them in similar sorts of ways. And they live very similar lives. Good. We're going to move on from here, go down towards some water holes. It's very hot here this afternoon. It's probably about 32 degrees or so, which is about 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And so while we head off to some water, we're going to go back across to Jamie Patterson, who was sitting in the Maasai Mara looking for a tiny, cute baby wild animal that looks a little bit like a cow.
Well, I tried to get you a better view of the buffalo baby, but it seems as though all the other buffalo are standing in front of it. There you go. You can just see the baby at the back there, and one slightly older young buffalo walking in front of it. So that baby's not too young, probably a couple of months old. It's already starting to grow its horns. And I know that James has been telling you about the difference between deer and antelope. Buffalo also have very solid bone horns. Isabella, you want to know about the buffalo's horns. Excuse me. You want to know why they are all different. There's a couple of different reasons. Some of the buffalo are younger than others. So some of the buffalo have slightly smaller horns, some of them have slightly bigger horns. But the biggest reason is because some of these are boy buffalo and some of these are girl buffalo. So girl buffalo have horns, but they don't use them in the same way that the boy buffalo do. So there we go, that's a female over there. And she's got smallish horns because she only needs to use those horns to protect herself from predators. Whereas the big male buffalo, they use their horns for fighting. So there you go, that gentleman over there, he's got massive horns, and you can see how they meet in the middle of his head. And if you compare them to the buffalo on on our left, on the left-hand side of that picture, you can see how different the horns are. But buffalo are a little bit like people in that every individual looks slightly different. So most buffalo have horns that are a similar shape, but not all of them. Like that female over there. That one who is the biggest female in the group, she's got quite strange horns. They grow slightly backwards. There, she's pushing the other buffalo around. She's a big old girl. That female, she's got slightly different shaped horns. So there are individuals in the animal kingdom as well, and sometimes individual animals, just like individual people, look slightly different. So that young buffalo is still growing its horns. It's not nearly got big horns, but that buffalo on the left, that big bull, see how they meet in the middle of the top of his head? And that's basically because when two buffalo fight, they fight like two battering rams. So if you can imagine the buffalo running at each other and head-butting each other, you can see that those horns are basically like a helmet, perhaps like a rugby player's helmet, to help to keep their heads and their brains safe. Essentially, that's what buffalo are like. They're kind of like rugby players. They're big and they're strong, or football, American football, that's what I'm thinking of. And if you're looking really closely, have any of you spotted some of the animals? Okay, Nathan and Destiny, I'll show you some of the other animals around here in a little bit. You want to know how big are the horns exactly. So I'm going to show you. Now, I'm not a very big person, but a buffalo's horns are kind of about the same size as my arms. So a buffalo's horns would kind of be like this. If you were to get up close to them, this would be how big a buffalo's head would be. Does that make sense? They're really, really big. A buffalo's, just its head, can weigh up to around about 20 kilograms, just its head, with those big bony horns. So that is around about 45 or so pounds. That is a really very big head. And they use those horns mostly to fight each other if they're boys, but as I said, the females also use them to defend themselves. So for lions, and lions are the biggest threat to buffalo out here, for lions it can be really, really dangerous to go up and tackle a buffalo. Now, buffalo really like water, and we here at Safari Live also really like water. And the reason that we like water is because there is so much to see around the river's edge. So there's another different antelope for you to look at. You saw some impala with James. Now look at these antelope. Now at first, if you're not looking too carefully, you might think that these are impala because they sort of look the same. But look closely and you'll see that the horns are a little bit different and that they've got a bigger dark black stripe that runs along their sides. These antelope are called Thompson's gazelles. And they're very common in the Maasai Mara, but James would not be able to find one in South Africa because they actually don't occur there. Now, Isabella, you would like to know if antelope will change colors. And the answer to that is sometimes. So baby antelope, particularly even Thompson's gazelles, or there's certain species of antelope like a topee. I'll try and find a baby topee for you later. They are born very, very light in color. And the reason that they're born that color is so that they can camouflage really well. So what they'll do is that there's a topee. I don't think it's got a baby with it, but perhaps I'm wrong. We can look very closely and see. So the baby antelope will actually hide, and they'll lie down on the ground, and their light brown color helps to keep them hidden in the long grass or perhaps next to some rocks. And then, as they get older, they rely more on being able to run very fast away from predators rather than hiding. So then they start to change color, and they get their adult color, like these two Thompson's gazelles over here. So some antelope, yes, they do change color. Now impala, like the ones that James showed you, when they get super cold, they get goosebumps, like we get goosebumps. Only their bodies are covered in a lot of fur. So it goes a dark red color because the fur actually sort of stands up like your hair does on your arms and your legs when you get cold and you get goose flesh or goosebumps. That's what happens to the impala, but it makes them look like they've changed color. Should we go have a look and see if we can find you a crocodile next? Because we've seen giraffe, we've seen buffalo, we've seen antelope of all different species, and one zebra. So I think it's time for us to go see what's happening in the river. Meanwhile, James has a surprise for you up his sleeve.
What a surprise it is, a very special male leopard called Hosanna, which means the little chief. Now, we looked for this cat all day long this morning. We found his footprints all over the place, and we followed them, and we just didn't manage to find him. And then I got off the vehicle right now to go and look around, still didn't find him, and we drove round the corner, and boom, there he was, lying on the road. Isn't that wonderful? He's 2.5 years old, which is the equivalent of being around about, let's say, a 14 or 15-year-old human being. And so although he's only 2.5, he's actually a lot way further in his life than any of you are at 7 to 9 in your classrooms. He's going to get a lot bigger, and at the moment he's still quite playful because he's young. He doesn't have any responsibilities, so he doesn't have a territory that he has to protect. And what he's cleverly done is he's lying on this road looking towards a waterhole. Look, Nathan, watch. Did you see those big teeth? Nathan, if you were to take your longest finger, you're about 7 or 8 years old, I'm guessing. Well, here he comes. His longest tooth is just longer than your longest finger. Now, everybody whisper as he comes close by. This is very exciting. Hello, Hosanna. It's very special to be this close to a leopard. He's a wild animal, remember? He's not at all tame, so it's not like we can get out of the car. If I got out of the car, he would react very badly. But what we can do is just roll backwards. There we go. Look at that. Landon, at the closest point, he was only about 2 feet from me. In fact, 1.5 feet or so. So that's not very far at all. I think he might go and have a drink too. Oh, he might go hunting. He's moving away from the water. If he goes left, and if he goes right up the road, he'll go towards some water. See how he's lifted his tail up into the air? That's because a bird has just gone, and that is an alarm call, which means that the bird doesn't really like to see the cat. He sees the cat as a threat. And so Hosana's lifted his tail to show, I'm really not a threat at all. Abby, once you've seen a cheetah and once you've seen a leopard, you would never ever think that they were the same animal again. So while we move, I'll tell you the big difference. There are some very obvious differences in terms of the way they look. A cheetah has got spots, a leopard has got rosettes, which means little arrangements of spots. A cheetah has got a small head, a leopard's got a big head. A cheetah's got a big, thick, heavy tail. A cheetah's got a thin, at least a leopard's got a thin tail. A cheetah's got black tear marks that run from the corner of its eyes to the corner of its mouth. A leopard doesn't have those. But the most interesting thing about the discussion between leopards and cheetah is that one is a specialist, which means that it is designed to run very, very fast, can only catch one or two different kinds of food, whereas a leopard is what we call a generalist, and that means that it is able to eat and catch lots and lots of different kinds of food. Now he spotted something. See how he's gone into what we'd call a stalk? See, he's dropped his shoulders down. Now that means he might be trying to hunt. Let's move up forward a little bit. We want to keep our distance. We don't want to alert what he's trying to catch to his presence by making a big noise. I think he's coming to investigate at the waterhole. Maybe he's seen something coming up here to drink. He's very cleverly using this little ditch next to the road to sneak up here. Yes, what he's doing now is he's getting close to the water. As close as he can get without being seen, and there he'll probably wait and see what comes down to drink. We'll just go up ahead. Yes, look. We'll go around the other side of him now. Just want you to quickly see how easily a leopard can hide. See that? All you can see is the tops of his little ears. And if we drove past here on this road, we would have no idea that that's where he was. That's very clever. He's lying there so that he can see what comes to the water, and also so that he can enjoy the coolth of the stony ground that he's lying on. Now, Jamie in the Maasai Mara has got something that he would very much like to eat, but it's one of the most difficult things, believe it or not, for any of the big cats to catch.
Hosana would definitely love to catch these leopard-sized snacks, but he would have to be careful because these little pigs can be very strong indeed. So this is an animal called a warthog, and the best thing about warthogs is the way that they run with their tails up in the air, although that one has got it all wrong and is busy smacking its sides with it. Hello, warthogs. Run, 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 run. Look at the tail. Up like an antenna. The reason that they run like that is so when they run through long, long grass, they can follow each other and find each other, especially for tiny baby warthogs. When their mom runs away, they have to be able to try and follow her. But it's still very funny to watch as their tails go all stiff. Trot, 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 trot. And even when they're not that nervous, they still can't help it. And when they run away, they put their tails right up in the air, and as soon as they stop, their tails drop right down. So this is a warthog. Similar to Pumbaa in The Lion King. Perhaps you have watched The Lion King, although I realize it was quite a while ago. Now, in The Lion King, Pumbaa eats insects, but in real life, the warthogs actually... Oh, run, run, run. Oh, and a zebra for you. And an impala. There's all the animals here. In real life, warthogs actually eat, they're herbivores. So they eat grass and roots and various plant bulbs that they dig up out of the ground. There's some wildebeest there as well. Oh, lots of animals. Shall we go a bit closer so I can show you all the animals there? We still haven't even got to the river yet. We've still got to go round this corner before I can take you to see some big crocodiles and some big hippopotamus. Got so many things to show you. You'll have to think quickly to think of all the questions that you want to ask. Okay, so we've got some animals that Brent showed you a little bit earlier. Some zebra and some wildebeest. Our little pigs are running away, unfortunately. I don't think the warthogs are going to let us get much closer, but the other animals might. And I even heard a rumor that there was a lion somewhere down by the river, but I haven't managed to find it yet, so you can keep with me while we look. Okay. Right, what shall we look at first? I think we'll start with the zebra, because we've got a nice close view and she's standing so beautifully still. There you go. A beautiful, beautiful zebra. So like the warthogs, she is also eating grass, like all of the antelope around here as well. Then we've got some wildebeest and some more zebra and the warthogs. And look, there's even a baby zebra. Oh, there we go. We've got a baby zebra drinking some milk from mum. It's quite a big baby zebra now. But we have a question, I think, from Nathan and from Alexandra, who want to know about the warthog, which has almost disappeared. So let's quickly answer your question and then we'll come back to the zebra. You want to know how long a warthog can run without stopping. And I have absolutely no idea. I don't know if anyone's ever tested it. But I think if they're running really, 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 really fast to try and run away from a lion or something like that, I think they could probably run about a mile or so, maybe even 2 miles, before they get exhausted and have to stop. But that's a very good question, because some animals are better at running long distance than others. So zebra can run super fast and probably run for about a mile or 2 and then they get tired. But wildebeest, which is a type of antelope, they are some of the fastest antelope out here, but they can also run for a long the way that their bodies are shaped, and it basically makes it really easy for the wildebeest to run. So almost every single animal that we're looking at here is faster than Hasana, or pretty much faster than Hasana. Hasana is very fast. He's a leopard. It's one of the fastest big cats, but he can only run very, very quickly for maybe 100 meters, 200 meters. That's only about 200 yards or so. Whereas these animals can run almost as fast as him, but for much, much longer. And that's why when Hasana goes hunting, he has to creep up as close as he can to these animals, and that's why he's camouflaged like he is. So many different things to look at. I'm really sorry, I'm struggling to hear your names this afternoon, but I think Zena might have been asking about why the tummies are so low. Now, Yena, is that correct? Okay, I'll answer your question, and then if I've got your name wrong, I'm really, really sorry. Now, you want to know why their tummies are so low. Now, that is particularly true for zebra. And let me tell you the secret behind why zebras' tummies are so big. It is because they eat lots of grass, and the way that their stomachs and their bellies, their intestines, break down the grass so that they get the good stuff out of it to help to keep them alive, while they're doing that, they produce lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of gas. And what that means is that zebras are very flatulent. And sometimes they even get a fright from when they pass gas themselves. They turn around and get a big fright. But some of these zebras are a little bit bigger than others, and that's because some of them are females and some of them have or are pregnant. Now, I don't know, I'm not sure about that one. I don't think she's pregnant. I might be wrong. But the one on the left definitely was. It was definitely a very pregnant zebra that I saw. There we go. She's on the left there. Pretty sure she's pregnant. So some of them are big because there's lots of gas, but some because they're pregnant. Now Harmony, zebra are related to horses, and in some ways they're quite similar. So a zebra can live pretty much as long as a horse, so around about 20 or so years, possibly even older in captivity. But around about 20 to 25 years old will be how long a zebra lives out here in the wild. And it's because there are so many different dangers out here. So even if they could live up to maybe 30, even 40 in captivity, out here in the wild, as they get older, they're perhaps not as strong as they used to be, they're not as fast as they used to be, and their hearing might not be as good. And that means that for the predators of the Mara, they become an easier target. And especially for these zebra and wildebeest, they have to make a very, very difficult journey every year, moving backwards and forwards from the Serengeti. Okay, now I promised I would take you to the edge of the river to see what we can find there. I mentioned a lion, but never mind that, because Brent has beaten me to it, and he's found one for you.
Well, I still haven't moved a muscle. I'm still sitting with the lions, who are having a very good nap. So they have not moved an inch since you were last here. But the weather has got colder, the wind has started picking up. So you never know. They might get moving now that it's a bit cooler. The wildebeest are quite a bit closer now. Closest wildebeest probably less than 100 meters away. Slowly grazing towards the lions. And you'll be able to hear some frogs in the waterhole close to us. Row, 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 row. Hello, Nathan. Nathan wants to know, how would the wildebeest protect themselves? Well, Nathan, they've got very good eyesight and they can run very quickly. So the lions have to get very close to be able to catch them. They need to get sort of within 20 feet or so. So normally in an area like this, the wildebeest will probably spot the lions before then, and the lions can only run very fast for a very short part of time, of short distance, whereas the wildebeest can run fast for a long way. And there the Ellie's still there. Hello, elephants. Amongst the wildebeest, also enjoying the nice green grass that's here. Alright, that one's eating a bush. And we can see down on the ground in front of those wildebeest is a wildebeest who didn't make it through last year. You can see there's a wildebeest skull on the ground. Hello, Landon. Landon would like to know, how big can elephants get? Landon, a very big elephant bull can weigh as much as 6,000 kilograms. But the biggest elephant ever recorded was 9,000 kilograms. So over 20,000 pounds, the biggest elephant. But normally they don't get much bigger than 15 or 16,000 pounds. That one we're looking there is a female, so she probably weighs about 8,000 pounds or so. frogs calling. Oh, one lion's moved a little bit. So there was a little stretch, and stretching means they might be getting ready to get up, but not just yet because those eyes are still closed. Let's go back to South Africa and James and the wonderful leopard Hosanna.
There is the wonderful leopard Hosanna. He's hiding now next to the road. And we've come round the other side and you can see he's very, very sneakily got in a little ditch here. And while he looks like he's fast asleep, his ears are listening carefully to see if he can hear the sound perhaps of water lapping into an antelope's mouth as it sucks up water from the waterhole that he's close to, or perhaps the breaking of a branch as an antelope comes closer to him. You can see he's very hot, that's why he's panting like that. He might also have eaten something during the course of last night. I'm not sure what that would have been. Something small. Alexandra, leopards don't live a very long time. Male leopards probably, on average, live about 13 or 14 years. 14 would be quite old, but females live a bit longer, up to about 18 or 19, but very seldom do they manage to get that old. In captivity, so if you had a leopard in captivity, perhaps in a zoo or something like that, which of course is not very nice, but sometimes necessary, then they could live probably up to about the age of 20 or so. And this chap's only 2.5, so he's got a long time to live still. Sorry, Destiny, I'm going to ask for that question once more. What was that? Where do leopards' prints come from? Oh, where do their patterns come from? Well, their patterns come from their skin, basically, in the same way that I'm sure you have got a certain colour hair. I'm not sure what colour that is. My hair, of course, used to be dark. Now it's finished. David's on camera, and he's got dark hair. The director in the final control's got fiery red hair. You've seen the different colours of Brent and Jamie's hair. Well, it's the same with the leopard. They've just got different coloured hair all over their bodies. And I think it's much prettier even than human hair. Don't you think it's beautiful? Yellow and orange and black and white and a little bit of brown. You can feel the wind is blowing. Now this is very good for a leopard who is trying to hunt, and that's because it means that nothing will be able to sneak up around here. So I'm talking rubbish. He will be able to sneak up on whatever's moving around in the woodlands, because he won't make any sound, so they won't be able to hear him coming, and they probably won't be able to smell him either. Sorry, Nathan, I missed your question. It sounded like a very good question. Nathan, the dry season, well, it starts probably around May, and it will go all the way until November sometimes, so it can be very long. But the really kind of hot, dry part of the dry season is now, and it's between September and November. So it's getting very hot. We're not expecting too much rain for the next little while, although I've got to tell you, this wind that I can feel blowing is a little bit cold, which means that maybe we'll get a little bit of rain. That would be nice. We need some rain. Everything is very dry around here. Catherine, I know you're not going to believe me when I say this to you, but you know a leopard can actually run faster than even you, and faster even than the fastest person in your class, which might be you. I don't know if it is or it isn't. And it can run faster even than your dad. I know that all of you think you've got very fast dads, but it can run even faster than that, and it can run even faster than a horse. So they are very, very fast, but only for a short time. They can't run fast for a long way, and they rely on being very fast very quickly. and then they have to give up. So they have to get very close to their prey before they can kill it. So although he's close to the waterhole here, probably about 100 feet or so, maybe just a little bit more, he wouldn't try and attack something that was drinking at the waterhole until he could get much closer than he is now. Alrighty, we're going to leave this leopard now and see if we can't go and find something else, because I don't think he's going to do anything. I think he's just going to sleep. And so while we are moving around, seeing what else we can find, let's go and see a huge reptile.
So while James leaves the leopard, we have a very, very big predator that even Hosanna would be frightened of. An absolutely massive crocodile lying up on the banks of the Mara River. And in fact, it's not just one massive crocodile, it's two massive crocodiles. And in fact, I can even see a third enormous crocodile off to the right of them. So these are enormous, enormous predators. Probably one of the biggest predators that we get out here. In fact, pound for pound, the biggest. Lucas, you want to know what animal has the highest jaw power out here in the African wilderness? And this is an animal that we're looking at right now. The bite force of a Nile crocodile is absolutely enormous. Now, most animals can bite very, very hard. And of course, there's also the hyenas that are capable of crushing bones. But when it comes to really being able to bite and hold down, a crocodile is a very, very strong animal. Now, you probably will have heard before that their muscles opening their jaws can be quite weak. So they struggle to open up their jaws, but at the same time, they have a very, very strong closing bite force. So you could probably hold the crocodile's jaw closed, although please don't ever, 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 ever try that, because these animals are super strong and it would throw you around and really hurt you. So you must never try that. You must never touch an alligator or a crocodile. But they can't open their mouths very easily, but they can slam their mouths shut and hold their mouths shut. And once a crocodile bites down on something, it is very difficult for them to make them let go. Now, what these big crocodiles are doing is either waiting for an animal to come to the water's edge, although to be honest, I think right now these crocodiles are just resting. But they'll also wait for the migration to come and for the animals to swim across the Mara River. Now, apparently the entire class is wondering about the difference between a crocodile and an alligator. So there's quite a few differences. If you have a look at the nose of an alligator, this is one of the big, big differences, you'll see that the nose of an alligator is quite wide, very, very wide in fact, whereas a crocodile is slightly more sharp and pointed at the tip. Not very sharp and pointed, but slightly. So an alligator has a broader nose or a broader snout. Now, the other big difference is where you find alligators and crocodiles. You don't find any alligators here in Africa. You will only find them in, for example, in North America or in the Americas and in Asia. But crocodiles you will find almost everywhere throughout the world. Now, if you look closely when a crocodile closes its mouth, you will also find that you can see the teeth. Now, unfortunately, we can't see, but with alligators, if you see its mouth is closed and you can't see any teeth, then you know that it is an alligator. Okay, it has been an absolute pleasure having those of you that joined us this afternoon. I hope you enjoy the rest of your school day. Unfortunately, you have to go and return and leave our safari, but hopefully we'll see you again and we get to take you on safari very soon. For the rest of you, off you pop back across the continent to James, who is, I'm not sure what James is doing.
James is looking at some Nyalas who have just come to drink at the waterhole, and Hosana slept through the entire affair. Did not move his head. Welcome to the regular safari. We used to call it the adult safari, but of course that has ridiculously unpleasant other connotations, and so we just call it the regular safari now. Please talk to us using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, otherwise the chat stream on YouTube. We're going to leave Hosana now and head down towards the south, towards where there were some wild dogs seen earlier today. So with any luck we'll have some wild dogs and leopards in one drive. Wouldn't that be great? Yes, it would. David, are you ready? Yes. Here we go. Vroom, vroom. We'll come back here at the end of the drive. We don't get very lucky with something else because, of course, Hosana will probably get up as it starts to get a little bit cooler. And as I said to the kids, there are sort of coolish tongues in this wind we're having now. And I wonder if there isn't a front moving in. Yes, Hosana did not see the Nyala. Apparently it says it's going to rain on Sunday. Well, I'm not sure if it is correct or not. It may or may not be. I'm just waving at Aubrey, who told us about the dogs. Nice to see a few dogs. I am the only one out here, again, I'm afraid, out here in Juma, so you'll have to put up with me. Jamie and Brent obviously are out in the Mara, so that's very nice. Jamie's only got 4 days left, I think. David, do you see that tiny little bird there? Oh, no, it was another one, but now it's also flown off. Just in that little thicket. I think it was a golden-breasted bunting. They're very pretty, David. They have golden breasts, which makes them look very cheerful. Unfortunately, you closed off that little avenue of pleasure for us today. Anyway, we shall also continue to look for our signs of spring and whatever else is interesting around here. Apparently, the enormous loud sound has so far failed to wake his lion with his voice. I think you should ask him to shout, "This is 100%.
Well, we have a slight little bit of more movement now, but the wildebeest are slowly edging closer and closer. Actually, the closest ones are probably behind us at the moment. The lions seem to be aware that they're there, but not too concerned. Just yet, of course. Strong wind still. Now, the wind is blowing towards where some of the wildebeest are, but even the smell of a big cat is often not enough to deter where they're off to. And the smell of lions will be all over this place. You should start hearing the faint gnu, 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 gnu shortly as the closest wildebeest are getting close. As I said, the closest one's actually directly behind us, and we can't show you with the camera. But they are slowly but surely moving towards where these two girls are snoozing. Oh, slowly but surely we're starting to see the odd little yawn and stretch. About the most movement we've seen so far this afternoon. Oh, there's Wildebeest. Oh my goodness, what happened? Where did they come from? I've been snoozing so much, I didn't notice them sneak up on me. Definitely looking a little bit more intent now that she's realised how close some of the wildebeest are. Well, we've watched about 3-4 different failed attempts from these lions in the last 2 drives. Still a bit sleepy, I think, though. Ah, well, it seems like the lions and the Mara are coming out to play because Jamie seems to have found some of her own.
I have to warn you in advance, I'm really struggling this afternoon to hear Kirsty. She sounds a little bit like she's underwater. All I can hear is bloop, 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 bloop at times, but I caught the live, so there you go. I have absolutely no idea where you were or what you were seeing, but we've got a lion to show you. And I think it's a lion that I actually drove past earlier on my way to find some things to show the kids. Whoopsie daisy. I have no idea which lion. She looks quite full to me. She's panting. It has been warm, but it's cooled down a considerable amount. I suspect, given where she is, she's a Paradise Pride female. I mean, we're right at the main crossing. And she's missing the tip of her tail. This is where it gets complicated, because one of the Magoro lionesses is missing the tip of her tail. She's also missing a patch of fur off her bottom. Oh, hello. That's a fresh-ish stab wound. Although that looks like a bite. That looks like puncture wounds from a bite. Probably painful, but not too serious. I think that one of the Paradise lionesses has a missing tail tip. I'm not 100% certain though. This is where things get a bit confusing. The Magoro lionesses have been around this area as well. But I suspect that this is a Paradise Pride member with the missing tail tip. She's found herself, I was going to say, a comfortable looking position. I don't know that that's the case. I mean, she's lying right on the rocks. Maybe she's looking for some kind of back treatment, spinal realignment, because where she's lying, she must be resting on rocks that are distinctly uncomfortable. I don't know why she's decided to collapse there. It's obviously the best shady spot from where she's been. Lorena, you say she looks so comfy. I guess she does in a way. She looks comfy, but that's a special gift of cats, isn't it? Oh, no, you see, it's not a Magoro. Hello, pretty girl. That Magoro lioness with the missing tail tip has got a bald patch on her top lip. It's not a Magoro. I think it's a Paradise Pride member. I don't know where the rest of her pride mates are. They could quite easily be in the bushes off behind me, and I might not know because the riverbank is so steep that I wouldn't be able to see them. Very tatty ears, nice opportunities for screenshots here. Help us to collate our ID kits on this pride, because we actually don't have any. I might just do a quick, I think these screenshots will work well, but I might just do a quick photo of her face just to add her to our collection. We've been trying really hard to keep track Can you look at me with your ears out? No? Just quickly get her teeth. Just looking, when we identify lions, what we're looking at is the whisker spot patterns, tears around the ears, the condition of the teeth, anything that stands out like a missing tail tip. But it can be so deceptive. For example, in this situation where you've got two prides next to each other with two individual members with missing tail tips. No, big girl. Oh, shame. That leg is hurting her. She's got a little bit of a limp. Stiff walk. Guess she wasn't that comfortable after all. Okay, there's absolutely nothing I can do once she goes behind me. There we go, tail tip, nice opportunity for a screenshot. Never mind, I take that back. Poofy Poof, you want to know? Oh, it was definitely not a good time for a screenshot. Oh, we're about to get hit by the smell of some serious lioness diarrhea. Poofy Poof, you want to know why the flies keep going for her eyes? And the answer to that is because it's the most sensitive, or one of the most vulnerable and sensitive areas of the lioness. So oh. Some of these flies are blood-sucking flies. I think Manu needs to move. I think Manu is about to die. Just hold on, let me just move. Oh no, she's coming back. I can't move, Manu. You'll just have to lump it, I'm afraid. Because it's a nice opportunity for a right-hand side. Some of these flies do suck blood. Others are looking for a good place to lay their eggs where their maggots will have easy access. And, oh, goodness gracious, really? Perfect. Beautiful. Exactly what we were going for. There's some nice opportunities to get the flies around her ears as well. So they're looking for a nice place to go and lay their eggs. And those areas like the eyes and the ears are very, very soft. Well, since we can't do very much about this, off you go to James before his bird flies away.
We had a little bird there called a rattling cisticola, and we didn't actually stop for the rattling cisticola. We stopped for another golden-breasted bunt. There it is, David, quickly. Can you see it? Golden-breasted bunting, where are you? Sitting in the tree, smiling at me. Oh, David. He's in there, he must be. Go down a bit. Let's sing him the song once more, David. Golden-breasted bunting sitting in a tree. Where are you looking at me? That's not actually a real song, everyone. I made that up. I know it was astonishing to believe, but really, it's true. Thank you. Thank you, Kirsten. Yes, that's where he was. Did it land there? Are you sure, David? It wasn't a piece of flotsam floating by on the wind, no. Oh, well. I guess... You know, the reason I am so enthralled by these birds is that their golden yellow colour on the breast makes me extremely happy. David, don't laugh at me. I find yellow a very happy colour. David, is my favourite colour. Yes. Laugh you may. Let's continue. There it is. Look, they're on top now. Quickly. If you miss this time, David, I'm going to push you off the car. Top. Oh, you got him. Yes, you got him. Well done. I don't know if you heard him there, everybody, but he got a little upset with me. Ecula, David's amputated foot is doing fine. Well, I mean, I don't know if the amputated bit's doing fine. The new one we made for him out of a piece of combretum wood and an old nail and a small piece of pine is working perfectly adequately. Isn't it, David? Yes, good. And in fact, it was just very inconvenient that we refound David's his shoe on game drive this morning on walk. You'll remember, those of you who were watching, that we found the shoe that was pilfered by hyenas the other day, and now he has no use for it, of course, because we amputated his leg at the knee. And so we really feel a little bit sad about finding the shoe, given that it has no use. I suppose we could use it on the end of your pine foot, couldn't we, David? Yes, maybe we'll make a plaster of Paris foot. That's a good idea. Is that not a beautiful bird, David? Doesn't it make you feel happy? You feel happy now, David? Quite happy? Yeah. Not very? No. Kazos, you say I mustn't push David off. Okay, I won't. If you say I won't, I shouldn't, then I shan't. I mean, look at that bird, David. He's got a lovely golden breast. He's got a little sort of 80s style cycling helmet on his head. He's making a pretty call. I mean, I think it's so magnificent I might call it in on the game drive radio. Stations located: 1 golden-breasted bunting at Spaghetti Junction. Bird is static. 1 station here. Could also be hunting, yes, Kirsten, except it's a seed eater, and I'm not really sure that we could describe hunting seeds. Now I'm being told what it can and can't do from the final control. Good. Well, I think that's a very good golden-breasted bunting sighting. David, thank you very much for helping me with that. Good. On we go. Oh, Isabella, I forgot completely. We will go back there at some stage today. It's not called Leslie anymore. Unfortunately, my name for our little blacksmith lapwing was rejected outright by the viewers, and we called him Scoot, and then it was revealed by some of the zoomies that had already somehow managed to call the the bird Gilbert, and so he's now Scoobert. We forgot to go and have a look at Scoobert, but we'll go a little bit later. There is a giraffe. Can you see the giraffe there, David? It's slightly easier to find than the golden-breasted bunting, I think you'll find. Yes. Good. Well done. The giraffe is looking at us as if to say, surely you must have seen me before you saw the golden-breasted bunting, on account of the fact that I probably weigh in excess of 150 times the mass. Look at him coming out into the open, enjoying his limelight. Very nice. Bull giraffe chewing his cud, listening towards the wind. And just generally checking stuff out. We saw them eating some flowers the other day. Some of the combretum trees are coming to flower. They were eating those, really enjoying them. And as I was saying, great nutrition without the usual sort of tedious rigmarole of trying to soldier your way through all the thorns before you got anything decent to eat. It really is amazing also when you look behind him, you look at all that winter vegetation, it looks so harsh. And yet soon that will be a golden and copper giraffe framed with green as opposed to framed with brown and grey. David, I think he's fascinated by your new foot. I'm not sure that he's jealous. He's certainly interested, though. For those of you who are wondering what happened to poor old David's foot, he tripped on a concrete plinth this morning and gouged a piece out of his calf. Pickard, you say this giraffe is all on his own. Unless he has a number of invisible friends, I'm going to agree with you wholeheartedly, Pickard. I think he is entirely on his own. That is, of course, the wont of bull giraffes. They are often on their own. Sometimes they'll have a friendly close-ish by, but not always. And the females quite often seem to be alone, but they stay in visual contact with each other quite a lot. And of course, visual contact for a giraffe is very different from visual contact, for example, for a dwarf mongoose, which must look through the grass rather than over the tops of the trees. And so if you want to stay in visual contact as a mongoose, you must stay close by to your friends. Whereas a giraffe can stay much further away on account of the fact that they are able to look over the tops of the trees. Poofy Poof, giraffes, do they demonstrate their intelligence? Well, they put a couple of satellites up into orbit from this part of the world. Certainly one has come up with an alternative to string theory, so I suppose in such ways they do demonstrate their intelligence. Of course, being sarcastic, Poofy Poof, in case you hadn't realised, giraffes are not responsible for any modifications to string theory whatsoever. I don't know that we would describe them as intelligent as far as human intelligence goes. They don't have a complex social structure, and so that generally goes hand in hand with what we would term intelligence. So I'm not sure how good their ability to learn is. They're certainly curious, but really I couldn't answer that question but to say, as I always say when we talk about this sort of thing, they're as intelligent as they need to be. They don't need to be able to do calculus or string theory because it would be of absolutely no advantage to them at all. They don't need to have a language more complicated than the one they have. No, Brenda, I have tried to hear the humming that the giraffe make. I've never heard of anybody who has heard it, except perhaps a few people who work with giraffes in captivity. They do make an infrasonic sound, apparently, which of course is too low for human beings to hear. The pitch is too low for human beings to hear. But I've never heard of a human being who could hear it. But perhaps there are, if you sit with a giraffe in captivity for long enough. Perhaps you do hear it. That giraffe seemed fairly astounded that I said I hadn't heard him sing before. He's probably singing at me now, thinking surely you can hear this now, but of course I cannot. It is too infrasonic. He's got a bit of a bauble on his elbow there, you see that, David? A bit of a growth. Doesn't look very comfortable. Lions get those in theory because they get bovine tuberculosis, which causes a swelling of the lymph nodes. I wonder if this giraffe doesn't have a form of tuberculosis. I'm not sure if a giraffe can get bovine TB. I haven't seen that before in a giraffe. Doesn't seem to be hampering him a great deal. And now he just wander off into this dry vegetation, and we're going to carry on and try and find some wild dogs. I am told that Brent's lions are giving some consideration to the consideration of perhaps thinking about moving.
Well, they've given up their position to the wildebeest by just having a cuddle, so and a flop down. So they have been well and truly spotted now, and you can see some very alert wildebeests watching them. And it looks like they might be ready to have another nap shortly. But it is a good sign that they are starting to move, groom, that they might be heading off on the hunt in not too long. Yeah, the wind's a bit strong, but you can't really hear the wildy snorting. Achoo! Yes, the frogs are much closer to us. We can hear them going. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, everything's on still today. But I'm quite confident these girls are going to get moving again shortly. And they didn't catch anything yesterday or this morning, so I'm hoping tonight is the night. Now Chuck's wondering, do the wildebeest herds have alphas? Well, not really in this area, Chuck. In this area there will be dominant bulls when it comes to mating, and you'll see them running around battling each other, but there is no one single alpha amongst these mega herds. Now, completely different to southern Africa, where the bulls will have territories that they'll actually defend from other bulls, and they don't migrate out of those territories at all. So very, very different here in East Africa, and particularly in the Mara Serengeti ecosystem. Maybe I might be starting to hear the snorts now. Brenda is wondering, do gnus gnu or make the sound of gnuing when they eat? No, not really. Not while they're eating itself, but while they are moving or having a chat, they're all gnu, gnu, gnu. But it looks like it's time to wake up for the girls. Scattering the herds. Now, of course, during the migration, this isn't always the worst tactic. There might be a wildebeest or carrying an injury. Okay, let's move forward a bit there, Arch. Kaj is asking, are the wildebeest capable of charging lions? They are, but very, very seldom. It's sort of a last gasp, desperate attempt. We've actually seen it before. I saw it during the Gauntlet series with the Sausage Tree Pride. Big male wildebeest charged one of the sausage females back, and she skedaddled. So I don't think they're quite ready to get moving yet, but the process has been started. Remember, this is 100% live, coming to you from the Maasai Mara. Hashtag Safari Live if you have any questions. Lots of noises. And the frog starting up next to us again. Now, what you're seeing here is not uncommon for prey species, once they have located the predator, to actually sometimes even walk closer, snort at them, and sometimes they'll even sort of run really quickly past them, and sort of to just show them that they are too quick to be caught. Tommies love doing that. Hello, Roshni, not 100% certain. My
Sorry about that. I'm afraid some more grimelinos all the way from the Maasai Mara. Here we have got, at Twin Dams, a heron and 2 Egyptian gooses. And about 700 terrapins. Isn't that nice? Now, this waterhole has all but dried up. I think if we don't get rain in the next 2 weeks or so, we will definitely have a dry waterhole here. And the light is quite pretty, and it's got pretty quite early, and that's because we've had a lot of wind, so there's dust in the air. I think there are probably quite a few bushfires around as well. And we've come down here to look for wild dogs. We haven't found them yet. We have found terrapins, as you can see. Very exciting. I'm sure there are many of you who turned on the stream this afternoon thinking to yourselves that one thing I have to see today is a terrapin. Well, there you are. And, of course, a grey heron, who's standing very statuesquely. I'm not sure why he's not in the water anymore. I suppose a heron in a little pan like this, I'm not sure what it would eat actually. I can't believe there are too many frogs and things in here. There don't seem to be any fish. It hasn't been around long enough for it to have been seeded with fish just yet. And I'm sure you can hear the wind. And I'll tell you what it feels like. It's a hot wind with just the odd sort of tongue of air conditioning. But it's blowing from the wrong direction to be at the head of a cool, cold front. It's coming from the northeast, which is unusual. So most likely off the channel in Mozambique. Well, that was Twin Dams, everybody. We're now going to press on and see if we can't find the wild hounds. If we get really lucky. There were some baboons around, and I'm suspicious that if the baboons around, then the wild hounds are going to avoid being around here because they will be alarmed at. But they could easily just be underneath a tree. Now, I'm just going to stop for another bird here while I explain why there are no dying catfish here. Something just flew in here, David. There, it won't. It was a woodpecker. There it is. I see it. It's in that guarri bush. There it is. It's on the main stem of that guarri bush, Darv. While you try and find it, I shall explain. Oh, there you go. You found it already. There are no catfish in these ponds because they dried out and all the catfish died or were eaten. And it took a long time before water fell into them again. And I think it probably takes a good 3 or 4 years of fairly full water for the chance arrival of a fish egg or 100 or so in the feces of a bird or on the legs of a bird that's been standing in fish-laden vegetation and that sort of thing. I think it takes a little while before that happens. And clearly our waterholes here have not been full enough for long enough for that to have reoccurred, because there were definitely catfish in here. 2 years ago there were catfish and tilapia in Buffelshoek Dam, but we've had no bubbles from either of them this time round. That was a cardinal woodpecker, by the way. You can hear some francolins having a little bit of a shout. David, have we picked up a passenger? I think there was a... Yeah, I see it. It's gone now. It was a bush. Now we will wave politely. I think they wish to talk with us. Hang on, everybody. We will now go and talk to Aratuza. Good afternoon. I'm full of joy. How are you? Good. Hello, everybody. Yes. Okay. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Okay, cool. I'll go and have a look. Thank you very much. Okay, everybody, that was good news. That's Ryan from Arathusa saying that... thanks, Ma. Thank you. Saying... He's teasing me. Saying that there may be 3 cheetah heading this way from their side of the reserve. So we'll head down there and we'll see what we can find that end. I think he may be about to lose a piece of his vehicle. All right, I think we're going across to Brent. And what's Brent doing, Kirsten? Don't know. It's sort of mystery. Oh, he's still got the lions watching the wildebeest. We'll have a look for the dogs, and then we'll possibly pop over and see if we can't find the cheetah. That would be very exciting to have both of them. Okay, bye!
Well, we're still sitting here, and the wildebeest are now safe distance away from our two lovely Olololo ladies, who are just chilling. One's head's up, the other not so much. And to finish off on the frogs we've been hearing, and so unfortunately my knowledge of Kenyan frog species is limited, but I'm guessing their families. I've got a bit quiet now. There's a stream frog or a grass frog of a kind in there. There was a toad earlier, maybe a leaf folding frog, definitely a reed frog, one of the reed frogs. I could definitely hear that. It's quite a busy little pan. Now, the reason it's quite a busy little pan with a lot of fruit species, my goodness, Leo Smith, is not only is it a pan now that's filled by natural rain. This is actually an active seep line. So often where you find rocks and gardenias like this, there will be a natural seep where water is actually coming out of the ground. So as the water flows from the top of the hill down, it gets funneled into sort of spots where there's weaknesses in the soil, or a change of soils, a slight mineral difference in the soils, and where these rocks are coming out like this, the water often seeps through from under the rocks. There we go. Those sound like grass frogs or stream frogs. They can sound very similar. Very difficult to find as well. But the wind has slowed down a bit. Sorry, Kirst, my comms are breaking up really badly. Can you go again? Just waiting for Kirsten. I think Kirsten's saying, do we get bullfrogs in the Mara? Yes, we should get African bullfrog. I don't think we get giant bullfrogs here, though. But African bullfrog, we might certainly get. I haven't actually heard them calling. But we will get types of bullfrogs here, but they might be slightly different to the ones we get in southern Africa. Now we're having a quick look behind us, but back to grooming. Getting oneself prepped for the evening, out hopefully hunting wildly beasts. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep sitting here, and in the meantime let's send you across to Jamie to see where she's off to next.
Okay, so Brenty's going to sit there. I did not stay with my lion, largely because that is one of the busiest roads on this reserve, which means that there's lots of people who would like to see that lion. There's a restriction of only 5 vehicles at a time at any of those particular sightings, so we've left her. It was a bit of a struggle, though, to be honest. We, in the end, had to just sneak past her because the guy behind me wouldn't let me reverse around her. So I just thought I'd show you the sun shining down over the Mara Triangle, illuminating the herds of the migration. We're not far from where Brent is, so we're probably basically looking at him from the opposite side, from between the wildebeest. And what strikes me is that I thought they were moving slowly towards Northland territory. Sonia, wildebeest are a lot smaller than buffalo, and it, now gets me thinking back to mixing up the poor answer to the school kids' question this morning, because I was trying desperately to hear different things and concentrating where I shouldn't be. Wildebeest are a great deal smaller than a buffalo. I mean, a wildebeest is about the fifth of the size of a buffalo. In terms of height, they're not that far off. They're probably about 2/3 the height of a buffalo, but in terms of weight, they're probably about a fifth of the size, no, a quarter of the size. Let's be a bit more realistic. I mean, a big adult buffalo can weigh 900 kilograms, and a wildebeest really would be tipping the scales at 2. So I think to say that they're about a quarter of the size is not that inaccurate. These herons, sorry, distracted by these herons. They're having a little bit of a discussion. Yeah, I mean, a wildebeest is really only about 130 kilograms, not even be a very heavy wildebeest that top the scales at 2. So 130 times by 4. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Well done, Manu. Manu in your bird shots today. Being a pro. These herons are making the most unappealing sound. Once or twice, Manu and I drove through North Clan in the dark, and all of a sudden we were interrupted by this horrendous sound. It was not that sound, that's the Egyptian geese, but it was a sort of a... It was only afterwards that we realized it was a tree full of disturbed black-headed herons that were making this horrific sound. But I mean, when I first heard it, we were almost underneath them. I got such a fright. It was really loud and right next to us. When you're driving in the dark, your senses are on high alert. You're trying to concentrate really, really hard on following and keeping your wheels on the road and all sorts of things, or usually not. Here come the wildebeest, crossing the road and moving back onto the burn. They don't seem to stray terribly far from this burn site. They like it here, and as the evening starts to draw in, they are going to want to gather together in their big herds, as they do every night. Very beautiful. The rain is approaching us from the south, and actually it's not too bad to the east. I think we'll be okay tonight, honestly. I think we're going to make it home and dry once. That would make it 2 nights in a row, which is practically unheard of recently. Rima, yes indeed, wildebeest do stampede, and it's absolutely terrifying when it does happen, when you get a large group of them. They are not the brightest animals, honestly. They when they panic, they don't run past the lion that hunted them. They run in circles, basically. They run in swirls, and I've absolutely no idea why. It's just, oh no, I do know why. It's just blind panic, honestly. Total and utter blind panic. So wildebeest do stampede, and when you're looking at a herd of 100,000 or more, that can be quite terrifying, because the wildebeest actually, when you've got a huge herd of them, there's only so many places they can go. And the wildebeest in the middle, in particular, can't exactly shove the running wildebeest on either side of them out of the way, which is why they occasionally run into trees, they fall over termite mounds, they fall into holes. And it's not that they haven't seen those things, it's just that there's literally nothing they can do about it. So they do stampede. In a way, a crossing is a stampede. In a way. It is absolute blind panic. And if one jumps into the water, they all seem to follow, then they swim across, and then 100 turn back and go back across because they're just panicking, essentially. Oh, beautiful light on those mountains. So yes, wildebeest do stampede. I've been caught in a stampede at night before. It is not something I will ever repeat, or ever put myself in the position to have repeated. It was the most out of control I've ever been in a wilderness situation, because you can't. You're just out of control. There's not much you can do except try and get yourself out of there. There you go. Speaking of stampede, Those wildebeest aren't really stampeding though, they're just panicking because the groups left them behind and they wanted to catch up with them. Okay, assuming I heard that correctly, let's go and join Brent looking for wild dogs and cheetah, apparently.
Will, yes, we are looking for wild dogs and cheetah. We're doing our level best. Unfortunately, we haven't come up with anything just yet. We'll take this road over here, past the barred owl's haunt, and see if we can find anything there. I haven't found any tracks either, so I wasn't around this morning, so I'm not sure where really to begin. Aubrey said check around Trinidad. We did that. There was a duiker, a grey heron, and of course an Egyptian goose. A good idea to just check around here for the barred owl, which we saw a few times. They would be sleeping under a bush somewhere, possibly thinking about getting up to go hunting at this stage of the game. Just as the light starts to fade a little bit. It hasn't cooled down very much though. And I would think they've probably got another half hour of rest before they get up. It is only 5 in the afternoon after all. And when you're looking for wild dogs, the one thing you really don't want to find is, of course, impala, which we have now found. Hello? Have you seen any wild dogs? No. Not. I suspect that these are processing in one long straight stripe towards Twin Dams to have a bit of a drink. There's quite a few of them. There are quite a few of them, sorry about that. Let's just go around the corner and see the extent of the little herd moseying along. One of them's just had a heart attack and run around a tree, say 360 degrees. It was bizarre. Here they all are. You chaps off for a drink? Yes? Now look at the males, especially this one here. You can see his hips are sticking out, so he hasn't had the best of dry seasons, or the best of winters. Not the worst, he doesn't look like he's about to drop dead. And we really are starting now to see the lambs growing in the uteri of the ewes. Thank you, MK. You say that I'm the impala whisperer. Well, it's good to be good at something, you know. Thank you very much. That's actually a really nice picture. Well done, David. Despite MK's sarcasm, I think that you've created something very special. So special, in fact, I may take an illegal photograph of it. Gorgeous. Very pretty indeed, I think. Don't you, David? Yes, good. That's the correct answer in case any of you were wondering. Alrighty, I believe that the great hyena whisperer of Africa is back with the hyena as we speak, so let us go across to the great hyena whisperer herself, where I have no doubt there will be entertainment, cubs, maybe even some stink.
Hyena whispering, but with a twist. Because I've just mentioned the fact that we are looking at the wildebeest moving towards North Clan's territory, and in fact, guess who's here? Not North Clan, that much I can tell you. The clan whose territory or home range perplexes me to the point of absolute confusion. It's the happy zebras. As far as I could tell, sitting on North Clan territory, admittedly right on the boundary, so perhaps a sort of no man's land. There's Pike over there. I think that's Pike. She's got funny little pointy ear on her left-hand side. There's actually 3 collared hyenas in happy zebra, so I sometimes get them mixed up. I'm pretty sure that is. And these guys are literally just sitting here at a culvert, waiting patiently. Oh, sorry, our cover's actually flapping and disturbing one of them. You just catch that in the wind. It's actually frightening one of them a little bit. We'll sort that out in a second. That's just our rain cover that's come loose. I'm looking to see if I can find a piece of rope or something that we can tie it with. Ah, that will do. The bungee up on the roof. That will be perfect, thank you. Thank you, Sereni. Sereni is the ranger with us. Otherwise we're going to have... The happy zebras are not as relaxed as North Clan, with people in a vehicle. Particularly not with ours, which is a slightly different shape. It was just important for us to grab that in hand quickly. There you go. Relaxed again. Was that better? Sorry. So we've got 5 hyena here. I actually think we have 6 hyena here, one of which I can't quite see, but I can hear underneath the culvert. And they've probably spent the whole day in this mushy, marshy patch that is a drainage system, and having spent the time relaxing around here, they're waiting for night to fall and they're going to start hunting this herd. If it were to rain now, obviously quite a dominant one, if it were to rain now, you would find that they would start their hunt early, but because it doesn't look like it's going to, the only way that they'll really start hunting is if they see a limping individual come past. But this is where they've chosen to gather for the night. We're probably about 7-8 kilometers away from their den site. It's a little bit weird. I don't quite understand how their territory works. It's an odd shape. Look at this, lines of wildebeest streaming past. Bless you. Do you have a little sneeze? So I'll tell you my favorite story about the happy zebra hyenas. No, I won't, because I will absolutely not tell you that story, because James has just found his wild dogs.
There they are, everybody. Yeah, go for it, George. I was just talking on the radio there. The wild dogs. One of them is playing with a bit of elephant poo-poo. And there are some baboons shouting at them. In fact, Dave, can you see that baboon scratching himself, staring at them from the top there? Just sort of coming down the tree now. No, oh, that little guy will do, but there's one in the light on the tree behind. Just to the left, he's gone now, never mind. The big tree there, yeah. He may have been unsighted. Malcolm, I'm going to say I hope we don't get to hear any of the whooping. And the reason that I don't want to hear any whooping is that normally it means they've been separated, and it's quite a heart-rending sound that they make, that whooping sound. Now, these dogs will not think about having a go at a baboon. The baboons are big and strong, and obviously they can climb trees, and there's just many easier things for them to have a go at. Very lucky we are now to have the dogs with us. Much excitement in my heart right now. Well, yes, Lindsay, Brent will be jealous, but that is, that is Brent's trouble, not mine. He will be back here not too long from now, so he'll be able to take some pictures of wild dogs then. Quite hot. I don't know why it's only 3. Again, I'm pretty sure some of you will know who these dogs are before I do. So by all means tell us who you think they are. Rosalind, African wild dogs are quite specific in their tastes. They only eat fresh meat. There are very, very few records of them doing any kind of scavenging. And when I say they eat fresh meat, they normally go for anything from the size of a scrub hare up to the size of a sort of young nyala, I suppose, depending on the size of the pack. A big pack will kill something the size of a wildebeest. And these chaps, like I said, will probably start to get moving in about half an hour, I'm guessing. And then they will hunt, and then it will be, as Brent Leo Smith likes to put it, pandemonium. Baboons aren't slightly worried about them. It's quite amusing to watch, actually. They're just walking past, doing their foraging. Otherwise everything's silent as the evening kind of prepares. Barbie, yes, it is common for wild dogs to get separated from their packs. It happens a lot when they're hunting. It's one of the major reasons they've got such huge ears. It's so that they can hear each other calling when they get separated during a hunt. So yes, it's not unusual. It is a little bit heart-rending to watch, though, I must say. To see one calling and calling desperately for his packmates. You can just see they're a little bit restless, which will probably eventually turn into some sort of hunting activity. They've just looked up because a baboon fell out of a tree onto the floor. Just heard the tree break and then a little tuff. So this is fantastic. That's what I hoped. Thank you, James Richard. That's what I had hoped. To break those two lone females that we had a little while back, so they were broken away from some pack or other, along with the breakaway male from the lower Sabi pack. So we are witnessing the formation of a new pack, of course. This will be a new pack of wild dogs, if they manage to hold it together for long enough, which of course we hope they do. Quite a sky there, David, isn't it? Might even be worth looking at. Beautiful. Looks almost post-apocalyptic. Yes, Debbie, there is a wild dog den not too far from the Juma border, and it's inside the Manyeleti Game Reserve. This pack is so new, neither of these females gave birth this year. We found those two females the first time we saw them. I saw them anyway. I don't think anybody had seen them before that. They were trying to retrieve, or they'd come into an area where they'd killed an impala that Tingana had taken the remainder of and stuck in a tree. They arrived that evening and got upset with him. And then they killed a bushbuck not 3 days later on Chitwa, and they couldn't finish it, and Tingana ate that as well. Now there's just a little bit of bonding going on now. Bit of friendly. Bit of shall we go and think about getting dinner? New family that we are. Now this is quite interesting. Let's just watch a little bit of who's who here. Is that the two females? I think it is. See, the one to the right has got the tail up. Now it's the one on the left. And the one on the right is now begging from the one on the left. So I think in the little female hierarchy that we have here, that one closest to what must be the male under the tree is going to be the alpha female in this pack. I'm guessing. It'll be quite easy to tell because the one female is very brown with a stripy tail, and the other female has got a plain white tail. She's now leading off on the hunt, so that's quite interesting. Apparently it's not always the alpha male that will lead the hunt. And in this case, of course, there is only one male, so he's luckily found himself in the alpha position by default. Well done him. Carlaby, wild dogs are, in theory, relatively territorial. It's very difficult for them to mark their territories, though, because, of course, the home range that they live in is so vast. Strictly speaking, I suppose you might say they're not territorial because they're unable to mark it, and they do, come into each other's home ranges, but they do mark. They do definitely defecate on boundaries, especially if they smell other wild dogs. Well, that was very convenient timing on our part. They're now moving and perhaps thinking about a hunt. And we've got what I call the beta up front and the alpha at the back. Yes, Kirsten, they're moving. That is what wild dogs do. Did you not know that? They move. It's a specific way of running. It's called moving. Let's see where they move off to, shall we? No, Betty, even... Look, she's begging from him now. Betty, this is big enough for to hunt. I mean, like I said, the two of them killed an impala, the two of them killed a bushbuck, two females. I thought at one stage that there were two males with this pack, and that the one that was whooping and making a noise was part of them. You hear a few mongoose going in the background. She pushed the other female off this male when she got close. So I'm going to stick with my interpretation of the dominance hierarchy here. It's such a lovely run with a stiff-legged gait. Now, what are they going to find? Because things could get very exciting very quickly, everybody. If you have never watched a wild dog hunt with us, well, I wouldn't suggest you go and get a drink too soon. You'll spill it on your lap. Very smelly. Just stopped now at the junction to have a listen. Where should we go? Perhaps smell something. Please don't go that way. Oh dear. Alright everyone, here we go. It's going to get hairy. I'm going to call in some reinforcements. Stations, these animals are now mobile. They're going north parallel with the Mlamati drainage from Mamba Road. This is going to be interesting. Yeah, they are moving now quite quickly towards the north. So, yeah, if you're coming from Cheetah cut lines, maybe come Mamba, yeah, or Batalia if you can get onto Batalia. They are. Okay, so there they are, crossing over. I don't want to follow them too closely because I'm not sure I can get out of the riverbed there. Alright, apparently we're losing signal, so let's go to Brent and the lions. We'll try and follow these dogs for as long as we can. Alright, we're going to have to move very short.
Well, we heard some calling and saw some dust and heard some snorting canoes. off to the southwest of us. So we went to have a look, and we've now got a third lioness who's heading towards the other two. There she is there. The other two are quite far. It seems to be similar to what happened yesterday when three met up and then split up again. I don't think the other two up yet. I can't see. I can see one of them back where they were. Unfortunately, there's a wait for the car to go past. Directly where the car's just passed there. I think I can see one there. A little bit to the left. Boom, there. Now, you're never sure if they're members of the same pride. They could very easily be from a different pride with the way the lion dynamics are going at the moment. I mean, I haven't had a chance to have a good enough look to see if this is indeed another olololo or a sausage. Hi Bob, females in a lion pride are almost always 100% related. Moms, aunts, sisters, nieces, but it's not impossible, but it is extremely rare for there to ever be an unrelated member in a lion pride. Okay, well, I'm going to keep up with these lions, see if they meet up. In the meantime, it sounds like the dogs are on the move again.
They sure are on the move. There they go. Smelling some impala dung. That's interesting. Could it be that they are smelling it to see how fresh it is? No, negative. Guaripan would be a very poor option. You want to try and come central now and down Vultures, down Yala Road South. There's a new landowner in town trying to get here. The chances of him seeing these dogs before dark are very small. At least they're moving towards him. Rose, no number of wild dogs would dare try and take down a lion. The lions are too big, too fast, too strong, and no wild dog would take on lions. I mean, unless it was 12 or 13 of them against a very sick lion. Let's just wait and see what they do here. I don't want to get too much closer. Let's try and figure the social dynamics again. Again, we've got the female I picked as the alpha playing with the male. Did she say something there? By she, I mean Kirsten, of course. Right, here they go running again. Pop up the road, there's the male still behind. Same order in front, what I call the beta in front, the alpha behind. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but let's just keep watching. Male sneezing, bringing up the rear. Alright, hold on. Now, you see the ears have gone up. See they're stopping? David, we need to move. These things are going to start moving soon, I think. I think they've spotted something. See, she's going off to the side. And she's stopped trotting. She's now having a little canter. The others aren't doing anything, though. Except this, what I call the alpha, is anal pasting. That's very interesting. following. I can't see the other one now. Male now anal pasting over where the female did. So they're not particularly serious about hunting. Now she's going off. We're heading into quite a nice clear area, so let's keep going. Well, we'll keep going regardless. Animals are now mobile in a northwesterly direction towards Pangolin Track. Let's see if we can't get around them. We'll pop out here. Here they are, here they come. There we go. The female in the front's got a limpy back leg. Arlar, yes they do actually. They are born with flopped over ears. I've only just thought about that. There's a duiker there they can see. I don't think they're not going to go for it. It's underneath the big jackalberry there, Darv. They don't seem to have noticed it. Oh, you can't see it. It's not in a position you could see it. Now it's gone. It's just seen them and it's gone. Poof! Two of them running off into the bush. Will they chase? No, I think probably not quite close enough. If they'd seen it as I saw it, I think they would have given it a go. He's still thinking about it. Alright, now we've got what I call the alpha in front, the beta behind. Go. Animals now mobile north up Twin Dams from Chelapan. Best approach if you're on Central is to come to Gari Dam and then head south on Twin Dams Road. It's difficult getting people into these sightings. What is your position now? A little bit of a pincer maneuver going on here. Ooh. Oh, there's definitely some action going on here. What have they just found? They've just found something. Something went running off, made a huge noise. Was it a leopard? Couldn't have been. Was there a leopard sitting here? One of the dogs let out a kind of yelp. I saw something ducking down into the bush. Let's just wait and see what unfolds here. There's no noise at the moment. It's entirely silent. Anyway, Kirsten just said we can hear that noise. I don't think there was there wasn't a significant noise. They saw something in here. Maybe just the brakes on the car, yes. Squeaky, squeaky. And apparently there are a huge herd of impala at the dam cam, which is exciting. So we're getting quite close up towards the dam now. And now we have the beta in front again, alpha behind. Still the male lurks in the sort of rear guard, if you like. wonderful when they're on the road for this length of time, because normally they disappear into the block and we can't see them for ages. Oh dear. All right, now we're in for it. No, Patrick, they don't stalk really. I mean, they try and get sort of close-ish and then they just run. They're known as coursing predators. All right, there's a game path that runs through here that I'm reticent to try and get onto in the vehicle. I'm going to watch them. No, we're going to have to, you know. They're going to cross over here. All right, hold on, everybody. This is going to get rough. Oh, dear. Okay, they've stopped. I can't see them. Well, they're going back towards the road, are they? Typical. Absolutely typical. All right, while we get through this, I think let's go back across to Brent Leo Smith, who will be jealous of my dogs, but very pleased, probably, with the male lion that he has at his disposal to show you now.
So after we heard the female calling, we heard something else calling, and this is another male lion. I don't know. This, I think, could be the second of those two Ingarare boys. And you can see he's got a bit of a knot in his mane there. Beautiful male lion in his prime. Now the females are just probably 100 meters down of him. He hasn't spotted. There they are. You see, okay, Arch, if you go back to the two trees, just to the left of the two trees, right in the a little bit more to the left. Keep going left. Those two trees, just to the left of them, there are the three girls. Now it's going to be very interesting to see what happens as they either join him or run away from him. The moment they've got enough space that they don't really need to do too much. But if that one female keeps calling, they definitely will attract his attention. Keep an eye on everything. Oh dear, exciting times. Dogs rushing around in South Africa, and lions all about in the Mara. Now, I'm sure he heard those girls, that one girl who was calling a bit earlier. But she seemed, oh, he's going to roar. More contact calls than roars. Okay, let's catch up. Okay, sounds like he's starting to roar a little bit more in earnest. I can hear it over the car, and he's in his prime. I guess he's probably 7 or 8, so he's moved up from Ingarare, is my best guess. Ooh, get your screenshots ready if he stops to pose like that again. Listening for a response. Oh, hang on. He's got a wound on his face in a very similar spot to Kipuli. But I'm pretty sure, let's just double check the nose. I'm almost certain with that it's not Kipuli. This zoom in on the nose, the arch, just quick when he turns his head back towards us. No, not Kipuli. Certainly not Kipuli. Hey, big boy. Who are you? With your matted knot in your mane. And it's a highlighted knot. It's a blonde knot. He's been to the hairdresser. Isn't that cool? That wasn't directed at us in any way. That was trying to find where those girls are, or where that other male we saw this morning is. There we special. Now the girls are still sitting down where we left them, watching, not moving. So there we go, you got them there, Arch. A little bit to the left. Oh, there's one, there's yeah. There's three. And you can see the massive wildebeest behind them. Okay, decision time. Do we follow the male or do we go back to the girls? Let's follow the male. I haven't followed a big male lion for a while, so I think we're going to stick with the big boy. Say my name says that was impressive. Now what I'm really hoping is he joins up with that other male who I haven't seen before. He was just over here this morning. Okay, well, I'm going to keep up with this big male lion. Let's send you back to James and some wildy dogs.
I think they've just killed a scrub hare. Here we go. They've got something. They've chased something into a hole here, everybody. David, are you right in that bush? They suddenly charged in here. I'm sure something has taken refuge in a little tunnel. That's quite cool. Right, let me move back into this. Poor old David nearly got his block knocked off. He's not smiling, everyone. He's not pleased. I think they'll probably give up and now head down into the drainage line or up onto the road. I'm just going to tell you, hun. Johan, they chased something into a hole here, but they seem to have given up now. Now, do we go down into the river or up along the bank? Because I think that they're going to try and flush things all the way along the side of the bank. Let's wait here and see what they do. Okay. One's gone. No. What do we do now? I don't think we can get in, actually. I don't think we can get into the riverbed from here. See them moving up there. We could get in, but I think it's going to be too slow. Let's go back to the road. The reason I'm being sort of prevaricating about getting into the riverbed is because to get... Oh, there they are. Right, I'm going to wait here and see what they do. Let's go back to Jamie. Apparently she is at the hyena den, and let's see if she can get you another look at those precious cubs.
How weird is this? It wasn't just one individual down in the culvert. It was a whole group of happy zebra cubs. I think they've made a den here. Or chosen this as a den. They obviously didn't actually actively make that culvert out of bricks and pipes. That would be ridiculous. They're smart, but not that smart. But they've obviously chosen this spot as a den. Not with the littlest one, though, I don't think. Those of you who've been watching regularly will remember we went to the Happy Zebra Den site that we found not too far away from here, and there was a tiny black cub there too. Well, I don't think that one's here, but there's a whole host of older cubs who are having the best time. I was going to tell you my favorite story, and I suspect that one of these cubs is that particular cub. So Pike, the matriarch of Happy Zebra, her mother's name was Koi. So, you know, obviously you get the fish connection. But then Pike was given the theme as ancient weapons. So, obviously the name Pike, fish, weapons, is quite clever actually. But one of her newest cubs has been called Feminine Wiles, which I think is hilarious. There's all sorts of different names that her offspring have. Trebuchet, I don't know how you pronounce that. But then there's one called Feminine Wiles, and that is my favorite story about the Happy Zebra clan. It's hilarious. Ancient weapons, indeed. There's very little display of Feminine Wiles happening here. We've actually had a whole number of males come through. But never mind, let's go join James. The excitement continues.
Well, there the impala. The dogs have now adopted their sort of hunting stance. They drop their shoulders, drop their ears. I think maybe let's try an unscheduled broadcast, Kirsten. Let's see what happens. Might be a waste of time. We might be lucky. Alright, apparently that's failed. Tech lets us down. I mean the actual tech, not the people involved in tech. And the dogs are on the hunt. Look, see the head's gone down? And now they're running. Well, they're not running just yet. They're thinking about it. Apparently we might be live. I'm not really sure what to do with that information. They're looking at the impala. The impala do not know that they're there yet, otherwise they would have run. Impala are still grazing. Now they're judging the distance. They're probably about 100 meters away. That's 300 feet. Probably slightly far. But apparently we are live with you who've just joined us. Welcome to the Western Kruger National Park. We're with wild dogs, Africa's second most endangered carnivore, and they may well soon be on the hunt for some impala, which are just over there and do not seem to know that they are being watched by one of the continent's most ferocious predators. There we are. That infrastructure there is known as Vuyatela, and it is part of Juma, private game reserve there. One of the impala looked up, so let's see what the wild dogs do. Often they'll just give chase straight away if they've been seen. Now it seems they are going to go to sleep. That is deeply inconvenient. Let's just give them a few minutes. The one at the front is looking intent, ears pinned back. Tom, this is cool. It's very cool indeed. We're sitting here as the sun goes down. The sun has gone down actually, and we're completely live from the wilderness of the Western Kruger, with wild dogs hunting impala who've just come down for their evening drink. That one in front looks like it's having a rest, but it isn't actually. It is most definitely focused on the impala, with its ears flat back. They're just slightly too far ahead for the wild dogs to have a run. They'd like to be probably another 50 meters or so, 150 feet in front of where they are now. Apparently there was no sound. Now there is sound. I don't know what you've heard or what you haven't. There are some wild dogs. They are hunting impala here in the western Kruger National Park. We're at Juma Private Game Reserve. And this is a brand new pack of dogs, 2 females and 1 male. Brand new, I say, because they've broken away from their natal packs. Pisces, they are relatively efficient killers, yes. They don't have as much success as we certainly used to think they did. But when they do make a very serious chase, they have about a 70% success rate. They do give up very quickly, though, if they feel like it's not going to work. Impalas are moving off slowly towards a clearing, and that's why that chap's lifted his head up. There they are, just in front of us. And like I say, for those of you who don't know, that is Vuatela Camp at a Juma Private Game Reserve. Okay, back to the doggies. They've got a good chance of getting up and hunting now. 2 of them looking now. Irene, these packs can get enormous. They can get up to 24 or so. And this one is a very new pack, as I said, and so it's only 3 of them. But you know, if they produce a litter next year, then, well, their numbers could easily go up by 12. Probably more likely by 6 or 7. And then some of those youngsters will remain in the pack. Oh, here we go. Look at the posture. That is a very typical wild dog hunting posture. The impala have not seen them yet. He's only got to get a little bit closer. Now, interestingly, we've been watching them all afternoon. The females have led this up until right now, and now this male has taken the lead in the hunt. Look at the posture he's taken. Isn't that wonderful? You see that in documentaries, you read about it in books, but to be seeing it live is just fantastic. Now, all of them are doing it, all 3. Right, I'm going to warn you that if they run, well, we'll be able to watch them from here without moving too much, but we might have to move at quite a speed. Now he's decided he's too itchy. Get up and do something. Go on. Maybe he's decided that he's a bit smelly. Ooh, I think one of them's been seen. Carleen, the dog's prey are just over there. There are some impala. I have the feeling that those dogs have now been seen because the idiot started rolling in the ground for no good reason. The impala are very fast. One of them's going alarm calling. Normally they don't even bother to alarm call at dogs, they just run. This is turning into a slightly damp squib, but let's keep watching. I really thought we had a chance of seeing a full hunt here, and we're perfectly positioned so we wouldn't have to move the car. Now, Judy's one of the greatest misconceptions about wild dogs there, they're on the hunt again, is that they are cruel killers. Yes, they do often start eating before the prey is dead, but the prey doesn't feel anything. The impala have run away, and the dogs are still moving. We may have a hunt here. They do tear their prey apart very quickly and then swallow it. And so, while yes, technically I suppose they are eating while the animal is alive, it happens extremely fast. Much faster they kill than lions, for example. Lions often take a long time to kill their prey. Here we go, and they're off. Right, we're going to just let them run for a while, and then we'll decide to move. They're running across us now. This is fantastic stuff. You'll hear that there is no alarm calling coming from the impala. They're just running for their lives. All right, let's move. That was very exciting. I'll just find a gear that'll make the car go forward. Oh dear. Come on now. Oh, they've given up. All right, let's just calm this all down now. One of them's coming down to have a drink, I think. The others have given up ahead. They're all coming down this way now. Yep, I can see the third one coming back down this way. There we go. He's coming at high speed to join his friends. That's a female, actually. Well, that was fascinating stuff, and, well, I'm not that surprised it didn't end up in an actual kill. We'll just head down towards the water and see them have a drink. For those of you who have just joined us, thank you very much for joining us. We will be live still for another 45 minutes or so from the Maasai Mara in Kenya and here in South Africa. Don't know why I can't find a gear at the moment. And if you'd like to watch us, you just go to YouTube, type in Safari Live, and you shall find us. Until next time, bye-bye. All right, everybody, that was a slightly half-hearted attempt, I feel, by these dogs. I think they could have made a slightly greater effort. Let's hope they don't get hold of Scoobert. That would be very sad. I can see Scoobert's family, but I can't see Scoobert himself. We'll just get round into a nice position here. Is that all right, Dov? Not sure why they should be nervous here. Our sign of the male leopard is not too far from here, must be said. He's at the Gallego pan, which is just around the corner. I don't know if he's still there. I imagine that he probably is. He will be displeased to see two wild dogs. I wonder if they can't smell him. Because he was around here last night, of course. Just hear the tinkling of the blacksmith lapwing. That's all the sound there is, and the wind, of course. Well, that was very exciting. Equally exciting, I think, is the sound of a male lion going roar, roar. So let's go back to Brent Leo Smith and see if he can top the call of his male lion.
So we've made it back to the main Ngarare Road. And this male lion is marching south again. Not far from where we saw the other male, but he was a little bit further behind us. So he's been calling quite incessantly. Now, of course, if you were a wild dog, oh, it's getting a bit sticky there. Let me do this. If you were a wild dog, this is one creature you would definitely want to stay very far clear of. A big adult African male lion. Now, remember, this is coming to you 100% live from the Maasai Mara in Kenya. And you might hear some other vehicles who are a little bit late to get home today. Isn't he beautiful? Marching south, doesn't care if the wildies can see him or not. Okay, let's catch up again. Looks like he's going to go scent mark. Now, this is proper traditional Kipuli territory. So the fact that they're roaring and scent marking means we might not see the likes of Kipuli and the little sausage boys back in this area again anytime soon. Wildy's streaming past, but while we stick with him, let's send you back to Jamie and some playful hyenas.
There's a chance actually that those lions could come wandering along across this wonderful family scene that is unfolding in front of us. The cubs are now wandering off along the road. I say family scene. There's lots of gambling, playing, gambolling, not gambling like the, trying to play for money. And their favorite trick is to run across the road into the other side of the culvert and then come dashing out through the tunnels. Unfortunately, it looks like they're all now out, present and accounted for, and have been distracted by other things on the road. But that's what they were doing. They were running all the way around and then running through the tunnels as if they were kids in a amusement park. They were just having the best time. I'm not sure if this is going to be a den they use or if it was a place where they killed a wildebeest and it just became convenient to settle here for the day, because these cubs are all quite big and they're almost old enough to be spending quite a bit of time with the adults and moving between a den site and kills. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Certainly don't see any sign of the little one. They're very bold and brave though, encouraged by the playful attentions of the males. But behind them is an entire herd of wildebeest. Pike could not be more interested, or less interested, I mean. Catherine, you say that they all look so fluffy. They are. The hyenas of the Mara are so fluffy. They are the biggest fluff balls. Definitely fluffier than the hyenas on Juma, because of course on average the temperatures here are a little bit colder. So they're actually smaller in size as well, but very, very fluffy. Come on, you lot, come back here. Don't go wandering into the male lion now. You'll be able to see the wildebeest streaming along in the background. Panic is starting to set in as it gets darker. Hyenas will take full advantage of that. Whee! Over the other side. Okay, now. We're going to come running back this way or not? Probably not. Might be a bit far. What's also awesome is the enormous storm in the background. Just flashes of lightning that you might have caught in the corner of your screen. Oh, oh, oh. It's a big one. Okay. Trying to decide, because I think they're going to come running back to the entrance to this culvert. But I'm thinking it might be time for us to do some repositioning. Nope, here they go. They've made the decision for us. Running back, run, 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 run. Just like wild dogs might do.
Righty, well, we're still here, waiting with bated breath to find out if the wild dogs get hold of Scubert. We do, of course, hope desperately that Scubert remains out of their ambit. I don't know what they're doing. I think they must have eaten something large this morning, and so that hunt really was not very serious at all. Certainly not for one of them. One of them gave it a big go. In fact, interestingly, the female I've been calling the beta, she was the one who came back last. That was the one we're looking at now. Is it? No, it's not. That's the alpha. Shelley, I think relatively powerful. I don't think they're anything like as powerful as a leopard's jaws or a hyena's jaws. But I mean, they've certainly got... How are you? Good. I think they've certainly got a level of strength to them, probably not too dissimilar from a domestic dog's bite. You know, we know domestic dogs are obviously capable of pretty tremendous feats of biting power, but nothing like a leopard or a hyena, I wouldn't say. Let's pop down this way. Once it gets dark, we're just going to let them filter off into the bush and leave them be. And then maybe we'll pop back towards Hosana and see if we can get a view of him. There they go. plodding across the dam wall. And in fact, I think this is probably a good time to leave them. So this will be our last view of them, unless something utterly astounding happens to happen in front of us. And all of you are very concerned about Schubert. Well, clearly they have missed Schubert. I didn't see any of them sort of have a lick at something and then move on. That's all Schubert would have done for them, I'm afraid. They're not... It doesn't look like they are going to go too far from Hosanna. They could easily turn to the left of where they are now, which is north, and head round on the road towards Hosanna. Let's put some lights on so I can see where I'm going. I'm not going to try and find them again. If we do bump into them on the way out of here, then that's fine. But otherwise, we're going to call it quits. Which I'm sure all of you will appreciate. And to give them the best possible chance of catching something, and we have had a wonderful evening with them. Now they are still in front of us. We'll keep following them as long as we can. I'm not going to go off-road though. Our guide monkey, you want to see them in flier. We're not going to do that right now because we're moving. They may have spotted something here. Alrighty, we're going to leave them now. And that's going to be it. Wonderful. Guys, we're going to leave these dogs now. 2 stations here. Yeah. Everyone is leaving the dogs, and we're all going to see if we can pick up on Hosanna. Yeah, I'm going to give it a go. Oh, hang on a second. The dogs are right here now. They're about to run over us. Hi, guys. We're trying to leave you. You can have a look at the flare. That's quite nice. There you go, guide monkey. Isn't that pretty? Look how hot they are. They do seem to run quite hot. Going to quickly get on the radio. They're on the road in front of us here, guys. We're trying to give them the opportunity to go off hunting without us crashing around behind them, and they've just come and joined us on the road. They could end up with Hosanna, in which case Hosanna is going to find himself perched in a tree fairly quickly. Isn't that nice? It's a lovely picture of them disappearing. We have a slightly different lens on the flier this afternoon. It's a wider lens. Alrighty, we can move on. Alrighty, I think we're going back to the Mara now. I think we're going back to Brent. I'm not really sure, but it'll be in about 10 seconds. That's going to be Jamie. In about 10 seconds. So we'll head around to Hosanna and hopefully catch up with you then.
Oh, sorry, that was very ill-timed of me. I keep forgetting just how awkwardly I've positioned us in this site. I got to really keep my head down. I was just using my spotlight to try and check where all the cubs have gone. A lot of them have decided to come up close to the vehicle. They don't have the same level of curiosity as the North Clan cubs did. They're still chewing on something that's been keeping them occupied. I saw a bit of skin come out of the water earlier. Looked like wildebeest skin, but it was hard to tell at the stage of decomposition that it was at. Look at this little one at the back. He's not showing you the right side. One of them's been for a bit of a swim. in the muddy water. And back again. They're still playing through those tunnels, racing off around and back through. There you go. Can see what I meant. He's been in the mud, or it has been in the mud. Oh, I can hear hyenas now. That's North Clan I can hear. Unfortunately, probably a bit too far away for you guys to hear. I wonder where Brent's male lion ended up. If it's still coming in this direction or not. Lots of bones around the entrance to this culvert. Plenty for growing cubs to chew on it. This is really nice. We haven't spent much time with Happy Zebra at all. Initially, when we first started following the hyenas properly, we didn't know where the Happy Zebra den was. Then we found it, or then the researchers found it, then it moved, then we found it. Then it looks like it might potentially have moved again. Oh, are you going to come back out? Manu and I have got a new game going. When we see one of them dash over the other side of the bridge, we try and work out which tunnel it's going to come out of. The left, the middle, or the right. There's the piece of skin. Oh, hello. There's one right next to me. Hello. What you up to, Fluffball? Look at the way the cubs are playing, and the way that the adults are playing. Oh, I've got some really cool news for you. Something that I had absolutely no idea about. I've just discovered now, while this cub comes up to say hello. So, that collared male that Brent saw... Hello. What you up to? Not quite as brave as Paisley, huh? The collared male that Brent saw near Dorisha was Waffles' older son. He's about 6 years old. His name is Turani. I don't actually know how you say it. It's a type of syrup that I'd never heard of, hence why I didn't realize it was a Waffles offspring. But his name is Turani, and he's a dispersal male that comes from a matriarch. Little fun fact for you. One of Waffles' boys, who dispersed to the northern clan, which we assume is the Olololo clan. We don't exactly know. Oh, I can hear some squittering happening. What is silly noise that adult's making? Saying hello to Pike. Anna-Marie, you say that the name Happy Zebra brings you great joy and that it makes you smile and makes you happy. I'm really glad. I quite like the name Happy Zebra. As difficult as it is to actually explain, it is a really very, I think, hilarious name. There's different explanations that I've been given for the Happy Zebra name. One is it's named after the grass that the territory of, or most of the territory of the Happy Zebra clan is based around, and it makes zebra happy. I've also heard a slightly more macabre version of that tale, and that is it's based on a picture taken of the clan when they were first beginning their research with a zebra skull and a zebra head. Still had flesh on it, and one of the hyenas picked it up and it made it look like the zebra was smiling. Hence, Happy Zebra. You may choose which story you choose to follow. I like the name Happy Zebra. I'm not sure how reflective it is of zebra's responses to a clan of hyenas like this. Much smaller than North Clan. About 20 or so hyenas fewer. Less would be a better way of saying that. Okay, as everybody gathers round to worship Pike, the matriarch of Happy Zebra, Let's go back and find out how close Brent is to us, and if he thinks we might just meet up.
Well, welcome back. He's right next to us here. So he's just come off the road. We're still with this big male lion. He's been scent marking. There he is. And he's definitely proclaimed that this is his territory. He has been roaring almost non-stop. And here comes a scent mark. And my advice to Kapuli and the two little sausage boys is stay away from this area. I don't think these boys are to be trifled with. Oh, he's roaring again. I love that sound so much. And he's been giving us a good show. And he's been roaring. Oh, he started again. Let's just catch up. As I say, he's been roaring almost constantly. Alright, just giving good at the end there. Now, it is fascinating. The line dynamics at the moment are so interesting. There's just so much movement. To try to figure out exactly what's going on is near impossible. And there's another car you'll see coming down. Here's a ranger's post down this at the end of this road. There's actually two. So it could be rangers moving around at this time of the night, because other than that, it's only us out here. Now, normally I would have tried to get in front of him, but the sides of the road here are extremely muddy. And there's quite a bit of swampy areas, particularly off to the right. So he came in from that sort of top side of the salt lick. Oh, everything's going on here. I'm being pushed off the road at the moment. So I'm going to send you across to James and Hasana.
Hasana is just in that bush there. You can just see his little body staring into the same bushes he's been hunting through for the last, goodness knows, 5-6 days. He looks relatively well fed to me today, so I think maybe he's been feeding on little scrub hares and things. I don't think he's eaten nothing for the last 3 or 4 days. Might just have a car pulling into view. No, we don't. They're fine. I don't want to go any closer than this. I think that he is trying to hunt. Having watched his hopeless attempt at the diker last night on the dam cam, I feel like he could use all the help he can get. I don't know if any of you managed to catch that, but if you didn't, a diker basically stepped on his nose. He chased it and managed to miss. Not saying I could have caught it, of course, but I'm surprised he didn't. See him still breathing very heavily from the heat and because his belly is not empty. So despite all the times we've seen him fail, he's obviously succeeding relatively frequently. Miss Anna, this cat does always look like he's eaten, doesn't he? Tristan said that just before he left, which was, 3 days ago now, he said he thought he was looking a little bit skinny. But I'm not sure that he hasn't eaten since they're nothing big. But I think he has eaten. Nice breeze coming through, cooling down what has been a pretty hot day here in South Africa. I suspect it's been the standard issue 23 or so degrees in the Maasai Mara. Seems to be what it is every day. Right, well, Brent Leo Smith continues to add to his tally. This time it is another male lion that has joined the first male lion that Brent had that was shouting. Maybe they will both shout together.
Well, he's found another male. Now, as I say, I think they're two, but this one doesn't look like the one I saw this morning. So there could even be 3 Ngarari males. But he's just found a friend. And they are very happy to see each other. That's not the same one, hey, Arch? From this morning. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. We couldn't get a good... Oh, sorry, my hat's in the way. Couldn't get a good look of him this morning. He didn't really pop his head up much. Oof, these are proper male lions, these. See all those battle scars all over them. Both looking a little bit peckish. Oh, so happy to see each other. Big boys. Oh, boom, boom. I would say there are definitely 2 new kings in this part of the Mara. Carol says a bromance. Well, for successful male lion coalitions, Carol, you need a strong bromance. Or we might get, I'm just going to move, I think once they finish scent marking, we might get a double roar. So, sorry, Archie just turned off the presenter light because sometimes, especially here where it's wet, and I'm a bit worried about getting stuck. Where'd they go? Sure, they moved quickly. And I'm a bit worried about getting stuck. There's some very big swamps in this area. Let me just try it. Hopefully they're going to give us a double roar shortly. Okay, there. You got the Arch? So Arch is going to go into infrared next to me. Oof, they're on a mission now. And I am hoping for a double roar. But at the moment, we're walking. And so they look a little bit hungry. Just checking there's no wildebeest up ahead. And there aren't at the moment. More greeting. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, watch the bush there when you yawn. Oh, it's so beautifully quiet at this time of the night in the Mara. So the one with the scar just below his eye is the one we've been following this afternoon, and having a look at the other one, he might be the one we saw this morning. I said to Archie, he looked like he had a bit of a receding hairline this morning, and we couldn't see anything else really. Well, they are very happy to see each other again, that's for sure. So I know something. Oh, hearing both roar, I think would make Jacqueline's day. It would make my day as well. Jacqueline, well, there we go. We've got a scent mark. So they could give us a roar after that. I would say this is very much no longer Kapuli's domain. Wow, look at them. Beautiful big boys. Don't go that way gets sticky and muddy. Are you flop down back to the left a bit, Arch? Back up a little bit. A little bit more to the left. There, that big patch of grass. Come on, give us a roar. Raj says he had to turn down the volume to see if the crickets were in the room or on Safari Live. I can guarantee that most of the crickets we're hearing now are on Safari Live. I'm just going to keep quiet so you guys can listen to how beautiful it is out here at this time in the evening with not another soul about. You might just be able to hear the gnu's in the background. No. Gnu, gnu. Something so different about being out after dark. There's old Blondie Locks, that one blonde dread. Roar just now, but we're going to sit here with them. While we do that, let's send you back to Jamie with the happy zebra clan.
The sounds of this evening are utterly spectacular, but the hyenas have been keeping us well and truly entertained. The problem is I have absolutely no idea who's who, so I'm really just enjoying sitting with hyenas and not having to desperately stare at spots to try and figure out what's going on. It's actually thoroughly pleasant. They're really close to North Clan territory. If they have chosen this as a den site, it'll be fascinating to see how it plays out. The cubs are still running around. Various individuals are grabbing at the leftover bits of skin. I thought for a second they were going to take us further into the marsh. There we go. Definitely wildebeest. One individual got the prize. Although there's not much in the way of nutrients left on that piece of skin. There's our girl. Well, there's a girl. Pike. Calmly surveying her clan. Much sharper ears than Waffles. An interesting spot. I'm curious to know if they'll be here tomorrow. I'm just going to sit quietly. I know that Brent has been sitting quietly so you can listen to the crickets, but we've got frogs. So just enjoy that for a moment. with an odd whoop, followed by the disciplining of another hyena. They just keep coming in along the road from every direction. There are so many of them. There must be at least 15 wandering about. They always look a little bit creepy with the infrared reflection of their eyes. Doesn't hurt them in any way, just by the way. So we're not shining any lights on them. It's just the reflection. Rosemary, you say that this is so great. It is. As Brent says, everything changes at night. It becomes an entirely different place. And the frogs calling in this marshy section. Hyenas all over the show. Lions roaring. Spectacular, really. Look at them all. Family gathering. And of course, essentially, apart from being a place to rear cubs, that is what a den site is for spotted hyenas. It's a place where it's a social hub. A place where they come to check in, reacquaint themselves with various females, play with the cubs, ingratiate themselves if they are low rankers, remind others of their place in the hierarchy if they're high rankers. It's all important when they've got that many clan members to keep track of. It has been a truly spectacular sunset safari. I think we're going to hand it over to Brent for the final few moments. Hopefully the lions finish off with a bang.
Well, the boys are on the move again. They've just got up this very second. And I don't know if they've heard anything or they just decided that that little rest was enough. I'm going to try to keep up with them. They are leading me towards quite a treacherous area, though, unfortunately. There are lots of holes and muddy spots. And we're still hoping that they are going to roar for us before we say good night. Why that way, guys? That's not a good way for bread. Yeah, let's try and get a bit closer again. Now I know there's a big swampy area somewhere in here that I've had to try sneak around during daylight hours. Obviously at night everything becomes a little bit more complicated, especially when it comes to trying to sneak around marshes and muddy holes. Well, speaking of holes, that one at least is not muddy. Come on boys, you got 1 minute to serenade us. That is a very big muddy hole. Oh, treacherous times. Oh, that's a very deep, big muddy hole. Oh no, we're running out of time. Let's just look at the lines then. There we go. Not going to give us one last roar, but they are heading north towards 50 kilometer. This is definitely no longer Kipuli and the little boys' grounds. These big boys have definitely taken it over. So from all of us here at Safari Live, I'm definitely going to come look for these in the morning. So join us then.